Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Earth Smack, the mad scientist, man. And listen, we got a lot of stuff to cover in a very short amount of time. Hope you guys are doing awesome today. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell, man. Because the more likes that we get here on the Orange Phoenix Show, the more it spreads out to the masses for like-minded people like yourself. So do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and notification bell. In pro wrestling news, man, the WWE is buzzing. I mean, we talking like #1 trending all throughout the day because there was a lot of moving and shaking going on when it comes down to WWE. Just recently, they just signed a deal, merging with UFC and with the new company called TKO. And obviously, with these mergers, there's going to be some changes, right? There's going to be some releases, and they released over 100 employees with WWE and on the other company too. But the one thing that we really was concerned about, especially in the pro wrestling world, is the actual talent. And it hit us in spades. It hit us on this Black Thursday, as I want to call it. But before we get into that, let's talk about this new deal. So while the new deal will bring WWE to NBC Primetime and SmackDown to USA on Friday nights, and this according to HollywoodReporter.com, a source familiar with Raw discussions tell Hollywood Reporter that the market for the program is extremely active, with traditional linear network streaming services and unexpected players all interested. Now, however, John Oran of Sports Business Journal stated that the NBCU is considered a frontrunner to renew its Raw deal. Now, according to him, Brandon Thurston, the Hollywood Reporter, indicates that Raw and NXT will leave the USA Network when those terms expire in September 2024. Now, while the new deal will bring WWE to NBC Primetime and SmackDown to USA on Friday nights, it will also mean the end of Raw and NXT on USA. Now, source familiar with the term. So John Oran of Sports Business Journal, however, says the NBCU is considered a front runner, and there are also interest from Disney, Amazon, and Raw could move off of Monday night as part of the new deal. So, historically speaking, we always know Raw to be Monday Night Raw. So I can't imagine Monday Night Raw moving from something other than Monday nights. You know what I'm saying? But I can see it moving to another network because Raw hasn't always been on USA. I mean, it was on USA for a period. Then it went over to TNN, if for those of us remember that. And then it went from TNN back to USA. So for it to move to another network, it's not really a big of a deal as some of us is making it out to be. But there's a lot of moving and shaking going on. Now to the meat and potatoes of the situation. Now, on Thursday, which is today, several WWE releases were revealed, and the list is as follows. Mustafa Ali was announced by himself. Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Emma was announced by her. Shelton Benjamin was announced by himself. Elias via Sean Ross Sapp. Top Dollar via Sean Ross Sapp. Rick Boogs via Sean Ross Sapp, Riddick Moss, and Aaliyah. Now, I'm gonna tell you, there's a few names on here that is very, very surprising. And honestly, on Black Thursday, I never was a big fan of releases. I mean, I feel like they're cutting you off at the knees, man. I don't know if the talent knew about this ahead of time or they just got blindsided with it. One thing I will say I like about Tony Khan is that if your contract is up, you actually work to the end of your contract. There's no sudden release unless you just do something crazy, right? So I never was a big fan of these WWE releases. Some of these individuals was actually rehired back into the WWE, when Triple H was running creative and he was running the show. And then now that Vince is back over it, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? Some of these guys and girls that's been hired back are going to get released again. And look, I don't like my check to be played with. That's just me. And I think that goes for anybody else. And livelihoods and checks, man, when you mess with that's just bad. I mean, you talk about Elias, like one of the most creative people on the show. I mean, he's one of the most entertaining people on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gave him nothing and he made something. and you release this man. Like, that's just, why would you even do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, just bad. Shelton Benjamin, I mean, a gem of a talent, a gem. And I'm not saying that because I'm from South Carolina. I'm no full well that Shelton Benjamin is a gem of a talent, especially with his wrestling work in Japan. And I mean, with him getting rehired back to WWE, man, I mean, you broke up the Hurt Business too early, way too early. That was a Vince-ism. And, you know, you put Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin in this limbo-like state. I mean, that was them. But again, Shelton Benjamin being professional that he is, you know, the fan base like myself is just upset about the situation. And obviously, someone of a talent like Elias and Shelton Benjamin, they will bounce back. I mean, there are other companies out there. I'm pretty sure there is a 90-day non-compete clause that's out there. So I'm a little on the fence about that. Reason being that with that 90-day non-compete clause, it's a double-edged sword. On one end, you know, you get paid still. At least until, that's my interpretation of it. Like, under this 90-day non-compete, you still get paid. But on the other end, you can't just jump ship to another company the next day because this thing is fresh. Because if you go to another company and they give you the mic and you just go off, then that make the company look bad. So if you do 90 days, whatever heat that you got may die down. And when you do show up on another company, you know, show, and you say what you need to say, it might not have as much heat. But that's neither here nor there, because no matter what's going to happen, you know, these individuals that got released are going to bounce back. Dolph Ziggler, man, the man that should have had a title 10 times over. I tweeted about this on our Twitter account. This man should be a multi-time champion. This man should be in the same annals as John Cena, Randy Orton, that generation of guys, and he wasn't. That wasn't Dolph Ziggler's fault. That was creator's fault. I mean, Dolph Ziggler is a super entertaining guy, and any wrestling company will be lucky to have him. AEW. I know, you know, there's some words about AEW having a jam-packed locker room, which it does. It does have a jam-packed locker room. I think with the loss of CM Punk, with the firing of CM Punk, and the rumored loss of Jade Cargill going over to the Performance Center and stuff like that, I feel like this is the perfect time to bolster up the Collision roster. You can move Shelton Benjamin, Elias, Dolph Ziggler all over to Collision, and I guarantee you it will be a grade A show, man. Especially with Bryan Danielson, man. You got to be blind not to hire those guys. And listen, EC3 is already putting it out there for NWA, like future competition in 90 days, and he tagged Elias. And, you know, the thing is about wrestling right now is that you have options. You know, WWE is not the end-all be-all. If you get released by WWE, at one point in time, there was no other wrestling company that was going to give you that kind of money, but you was going to get some sort of money. But you're looking on AEW side of things, you can get paid. Now, whether you get lost in the shuffle, you could get lost in the shuffle, maybe because of how big that locker room is, but there's been some cleaning up. There's been some... There hasn't been any releases. There's just been contracts have ended and we just not going to renew your contract. That kind of thing. So if I'm a betting man, Shelton Benjamin is going. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Japan. To be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing him back at Noah. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Dolph Ziggler. I mean, AEW got to be blind if they do not pick him up. Elias, blind not to pick him up. Shelton Benjamin, same deal, man. Same deal. I mean, you got Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs was like this guy for Nakamura, and that's where he really got over right then and there. Like, the fan base loved him, and you know, you just don't do anything with him. And there's been some other releases too out there, and I mean, you got NXT, you got Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke's been released. I mean, you moved her over to NXT just to let her go. I mean, to me, that is total bullshit in that sense. Like Emma literally posted something today about, Elimination Chamber being in Australia, and then almost like a few moments later, oh, I get the notice, I'm getting released. Oh, never mind that. That shit sucks. Like, sucks by all intents and purposes. It sucks. I mean, here's my stance on this. All the talent that's been released, they are going to bounce back. They're going to show up on Impact. They're going to show up on NWA. They're going to show up on AEW. They're going to show up on New Japan's doorstep. There's work out there. I think they're just going to take this time to reset and get back in their groove and then move on to the next. It is what it is. I think what's funny about this is that I'm going to focus on NXT for a second. Like, NXT Black and Gold was magic. It was lightning in the bottle. Like, Triple H was running that thing like a well-oiled machine. Like, their shows was better than the main roster shows sometimes, for the most part, right? Then, once you put it up against AEW, and then there wasn't winning the ratings war, and not by a large margin, by the way. It was like, it's just like a little bit, just a little bit. You cut the cord and you scrap everything, and you put out this bullshit NXT 2.0, making it a shell of itself. So whatever tour dates that you did have, you didn't, it's just like, nah, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna stay with 200-300 people and keep it at that. Now you want to turn around and say, hey, we're gonna try to make NXT a viable third brand by bringing some of the main roster guys on NXT. Whereas when the NXT Black and Gold people didn't need the main roster people, they had their own guys, and they was putting on banger shows for like 2 or 2.5 hours versus the 4 hours. That was just my rant. Triple H had this thing running like a well-oiled machine. And when Vince stepped away, Triple H was running Raw and SmackDown, and it was starting to run like a well-oiled machine. People that you don't normally see on TV, you saw on TV. Certain titles that were showcased was being showcased. Like the Intercontinental title, the US title, the Women's Tag Team titles. Like, you start to see a surge. And then once Vince took back over again, you start to see the changes a little bit. You heard rumors about morale being a little different. You hear about this, and then you hear about this real news about the merger. And then we know as a fan base, and I completely know that the talent knows that somebody's going to get let go. Somebody's going to get released. I'm going to just cut my phone off. Like, I don't want to get that bad news. Like, that's crazy. So, I know WWE is making some great moves. They're making some real big moves. But release day is not a day that people relish in. Unless you're one of those sandbag bottom feeders on the social media network talking about, oh, this person deserves to be fired. They weren't crap anyway. Now, like, why would you wish someone to lose their job? Like, why would you do that? Like, all these individuals that were released, they actually achieved something. They actually achieved a goal that most people couldn't get to that point. Couldn't even get a tryout. And I'm guessing some of these people that was on social media talking about, oh, these people deserve to get fired, are the people that don't have the balls to actually say, hey, I'm going to go try out for WWE. I'm going to go try out for another professional wrestling company, AEW or NWA. I don't have the stones to do that. I don't have the talent for that. But I'm going to just dump on someone else that actually achieved that goal and saying they deserve to get fired. That's the most trashiest behavior you can ever come to. And for all the talent that's been released, I wish them nothing but the best. They will bounce back. You will see them on TV after 90 days, of course. I think it's WWE's loss. When you got nothing for this talent, where they are creative, and how much you had them in handcuffs when it comes to things like when you release someone out to the wild where you didn't use them to their full potential and they're going to be used to their full potential elsewhere, they'll come crawling back. See, I'm a little vindictive here. I'm a little petty, right? If you release me and I go elsewhere to make a name for myself, and you call me and say, hey man, we need you to come back. Nah. Fuck off. No. I'm doing my own thing. I like the freedom. I don't want to come back to you after you release me and you want to come holler back at me after I made a name for myself. But now you want to market me. Nah. I think the petty person in me would allow myself to actually do that. You release me. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. Drew McIntyre, same way. They let go of Drew McIntyre and they rehired him back, man, after he became hot. Cody Rhodes, the same way. Cody left, banked on himself. They bought the product that is Cody. So I want them. I know they are grateful for having the position in WWE. I know they are grateful for all the opportunities that they've gotten, all the WrestleMania moments, all the pay-per-view moments, all the matches that they were featured in at TV time and screen time. I'm pretty sure they are eternally grateful for that. But I know there's a little chip on that shoulder that say, I'm gonna make you regret the day that you release me. And I hope all of these guys have that same chip. And it was something that Matt Cardona said on his Twitter account. And just 1 second, I'm gonna pull that up. Matt Cardona says, he tweeted that shit a couple times actually. All right, to who were just released. This can be the end of your career, all caps, or it can be the beginning, all caps. Look yourself in the mirror and decide. I promise you the work and the money, all caps, is out there. It's not easy. It's a grind. It's a hustle. It's frustrating, but it also can be incredibly rewarding in more ways than one. If you work your fucking ass off, all caps, I hope to see a lot of you down the road. Ain't no truer statement. That's 100. That is 100. And I also feel like this is not the end of these budget cuts. You just signed a $1 billion deal. You can't say you release these people for budget cuts. Can't say that. You just signed this deal, man. Pay these people. But it don't matter. Because usually there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I've seen a lot of wrestlers, a lot of performers get to that light in the side of darkness. And I know Dolph Ziggler, I know Elias, I know Shelton Benjamin, Top Dollar, Aaliyah, Dana Brooke, the NXT talent, Mustafa Ali, all will bounce back to be great. Mansoor, all of those guys are gonna bounce back. You're gonna see those guys on other wrestling companies. It's just that WWE couldn't see the greatness that are this talent. And one day they're gonna be knocking back on their door, begging them to come back. To say, hey, it was business, guy. You want to come back. Yesterday's price is not today's price. You're gonna have to pay me. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. If I'm coming back, you're gonna have to pay me. That's also the petty part of me. If I went out there to make a name for myself outside of WWE after you release me, yesterday's price ain't today's price. I hope there's not any more releases come tomorrow, because Thursday actually hit us for a loop. I know we were expecting releases. I know it was coming, but I didn't expect it to be of this magnitude, especially when you just brought someone back, But, and that's no shade. That's no shade towards any other talent, that came back, like Nia Jax or whatever. That is no shade towards her at all, because, she looked damn good to me. She looked damn good in the ring. It is what it is. But again, this is my show for today. I just wanted to get on this live just to talk to you guys just for a quick second, just to give you the news on what exactly is going on. More releases are to come. I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong, because you don't never want someone to lose their job. That is what it is. So until next time, y'all. Peace.